Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the MetaAbe podcast. I have some new guests this week. I have with me today AngelaPickles and AndyOCR. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, man, I'm super excited to have you guys here. I've actually been planning to ask you guys to come on for some time, and I think it would be the most appropriate time now after you guys have ran that wonderful tournament that I happened to commentate and compete in for KOFXIII.
Dude, you broke the commentator's curse.
You played really well for a commentator.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm a late bloomer, man. Like, I've sucked at games for a long time. So, I don't know. But, dude, the event was pretty sick, man. I would have to say one of the most successful KOF events that's strictly online that I've seen in a while,
Dude, that means a lot. I was scared. And the fact that people came through, till this day, I'm still like really, I think that was my most successful tournament I've ever done. So I watching the VODs made me really happy. And I've never been so excited over like my own tournament before.
Uh-huh.
I think it's like when you run your own tournament, it takes the excitement away because you're working through the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy to be a part of it and crazy to watch it. And, KOF13, it's had a hard go as a game, especially during the pandemic, because the online component of it is pretty trash. And it's difficult to play a lot of our friends. And I've played this Steam version for forever, since it came out. And I've suffered through many, many bad connections. And I'm glad that this event was able to open people's eyes to Parsec+Cloud type experience and have people be more open to either trying something like that out or just entering a tournament that somebody runs,
Oh, yeah. We're trying to get like more players to compete. Because right now we're fine with hosting. I'm fine with hosting it every week, a weekly basis, a monthly basis. Yeah. We're just trying to get build back the player base that was lost because of time and COVID.
Yeah,
you're doing a great job with hosting too. You have to give yourself credit for that too, MetaAbe.
Yeah, but I have to say, like, I do it for selfish reasons. Like, I'm just trying to get as much playtime as possible. I'm not necessarily like I think what you guys are doing is much more noble than what I'm doing, because I'm just trying to get some games in. I'm just, like, I'll have specific matchups I'm trying to set up.
You trying to get the download on people?
Nah, it's like, oh man, like KOF13 is just, it's been so difficult to finally find a platform to be able to practice on, like actually learn some shit. Like I said, I've been playing on Steam for years now, but I don't really feel like I'm learning anything. But once you guys introduced the Parsec+Cloud lobby that you guys were doing, I suddenly thought, okay, now I can actually implement things that I'm trying and use them in a real life situation. Because I couldn't do that on Steam, dude. It's too bad. And I was able to like theorize about a lot of things and like try them out and try new strategies and stuff like that, where it's like I don't live where the community is at, so I've always had to either play online or drive really far.
Oh yeah,
right. You live all the way in the desert, right? Moreno Valley.
Yeah, Moreno Valley, which is like, I don't know, let's just say like from Irvine, it's like an hour and like 10-15 minutes, which is, it's doable. Don't get me wrong, just not doable to be able to really try to master a game or anything like that, especially if the player base is over there for 13. But yeah, I like what first of all, what I want to know is what drove you guys to run anything 13 related, because as far as I know, Andy, and I know you're now a prominent Sam Show player, but what exactly pulled you to start trying to run stuff for 13?
All right, so I forget when the date was. If you remember a while back, there was this programmer. His name was Slippy, and then he was doing. I saw like a documentary or it was like a Twitter post or something. But he's the guy that did rollback for Smash Brothers Melee.
Oh, okay.
So I watched this whole thing about guys interviewing him. He took time off of work. He eventually quit his job, and it was like a passion project. So I don't know. I was like sitting in the bathtub just reading this. Like, what the fuck am I doing with myself right now? Right? I'm bitching about net play all the time.
Right.
So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna go online and I'm gonna see what I can do about this. So I'm just like browsing through YouTube, and then there's this guy. It's the same video I show everybody, the Daft Hazy video.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he shows a video of himself playing Samurai Show. I'm sorry, he's showing us playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah.
And he's doing all these combos, and then he shows you the video of him doing it offline, and him on Parsec, and then him on just regular net play. And it's crazy. It's like night and day. Like he presses a button and it comes out instantly, and then you see him do it on a bum ass PlayStation netcode.
Yeah.
And he presses it like he's like 3 seconds pass by, nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Finally, a laser comes out or some shit. I was like, you can't be serious. This we're not born to play net play like this. Like, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna copy this guy, and then I'm gonna do it for Samurai Shodown because Samurai Shodown is my game, right? Yeah. And this is right when Samurai Shodown came out on PC edition. And then by watching this guy do it for Marvel, it just clicked in my head. I'm like, if you remember back in the days, Marvel used to run with King of Fighters at the run back. Yeah. I'm just like, if Marvel could do this, King of Fighters is in like the same school of like video games around the same time. So I'm gonna try it out because I know a couple guys, a bunch of old heads that still play but hate playing online. Yeah. I'm thinking like you. I'm thinking like Henry. I'm thinking Thomas, and I'm thinking like even Dustin. And then I hold my first session ever. This is like way back when we were first starting out. I'm having like controller issues and a lot of shit. And like we all run through that shit. And I'm just like, guys, don't worry. I'm sitting here like frustrated as shit. Yeah. Like, don't worry, I got this. And then we play, and then after a couple hours or whatever, they're just like, man, this is nice. Yeah. I'm actually hitting combos. I'm getting juggles. I'm doing chains. Yeah. And then I'm just like, all right. So King of Fighters is good. So I go try Marvel. Yeah. Marvel's just as good because I play Marvel a lot. Yeah. I'm hitting all these sick ass like TAC combos I couldn't do before. Yeah. And I was like, all right, if I could do it, then like a better player could do way more shit than I could do. For sure. So I host Marvel sessions, and I'm hosting Marvel and KOF sessions back and forth like Monday and Thursdays, just to try to get more players and just kind of like push this knowledge back out. Yeah. And then I think that's when it clicked for you guys because by then I was like burnt out from doing Monday sessions. So at this point, I think you guys were just like, all right, Daryl's like, I'm gonna do this shit too, and then you got into it, and I'm just like, man, this isn't easy, guys. It's fucking frustrating. Control it, choose. You're getting sound problems. It's like you have to really love this game to do this. Yep. Like, you can't just like it. You have to really love King of Fighters 13. No normal human being is gonna go through all this trouble just to get you and the buddies to play.
I'm just gonna say this: when I finally got a chance to play in the lobby, and I played against somebody, and I immediately felt the difference. For one, in the game, one of the most important things is if you can anti-air consistently. In the game, it makes the world of difference playing this thing. And I was like, okay, if I can anti-air consistently in this environment, I was like, the game has literally changed. This is a completely different game, right? I entered, I played, and I was like, holy shit, I can DP way fucking easier, like by a mile. Like, because, dude, I played so much online. I'm like, oh my God. And I play against Matador. You've played, Andy, against Matador. So, you know what I'm up against when I play him. And he's a god online, dude. Like, I don't know how he does it, but he has adapted the Steam online component to his soul, and just, I don't know. The guy's ridiculous online. But I've always had this feeling of like, I don't want to invest my time to be good at an online environment. You know, I think it's a waste of time. Like, oh, I'm gonna be good at an online environment, then go to an offline tournament, and it's like so different. I'm gonna give them my ass kicked. You know, I don't want to do that. Like, so I wouldn't put nowhere near as much time as Matador or these other players play, and I kind of just would play it every now and then just for fun, but never really take it too serious. So when I entered your lobby and I saw I could do that, and the second thing was like, all right, if I could consistently block overheads, like I'm gonna figure this out. I'm going to figure out this cloud situation, and I'm gonna do it myself because it's that good. Yeah, and then I started blocking overheads. I was like, this is the shit. We need to do this all the time. I'm here.
I remember this because I was just like, I hosted it for like at least a month, and I've never seen you drop the set until like the second month.
Yeah,
I'm just like, what has this guy been doing all these years? Is this the only game he's been playing? Because like the first time you hopped in, it wasn't even close. I think you OCV'd like the first 3 players. Yeah. I'm just like, a week later, I'm like, I can't let this guy just sit here and just like body people. So I put the 3 win limit for you. So I'm just like, this is oppressive. Everyone's just like getting mauled. But I'm just like, he's doing it because he's anti-airing everybody's shit and he's blocking everything.
Yeah.
And people aren't used to be able to do that online. Like,
oh no,
in their head, if they see somebody jump, they're not even gonna attempt to anti-air just because in their head there's already conditioned. All right, if I press this button, it's not gonna come out fast enough just because it's online.
Yeah, but I mean that split second happens. Like you feel it. You feel that split second that goes by. Like, well, there's where the anti-air could have happened, so I'm not gonna do it now. But dude, this cloud situation's like. Everybody that's experienced it says something similar. Either they've said one or two things. One, it's amazing, or two, it's different, right?
Yeah.
It's different is always the first one, especially when someone's been playing, grinding out online for the longest time, right? Because they've just adjusted to the net play. Mm-hmm. And it takes people time to come around to adjust. Until this day, for example, are like players in Mexico who just tried Parsec for the past 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. It took them 2 weeks to adjust. And they literally practiced to adjust to the gameplay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But for you, like, I know would you say there are things, like how close is it to offline in your opinion? Is it just like in between, or is it more closer to Steam, or more closer to offline, or just smack dab in the middle?
Well, for one, the consistency is a big deal. So that already puts it over the Steam online edition. Cause Steam can be like, I don't know, man. It can be really inconsistent. It can have a lot of drop frames, a lot of like you'll eat a lot of inputs. And that there are instances where inputs do get eaten even on cloud, but it's like at least 80% less than what it is on Steam. And as far as like the lag is concerned, it depends. Sometimes it feels like offline. Like I played Freddy. I mean, I know Freddy. You guys call him Files Freddy because he has a ridiculous connection, but against him, it's great. It's like, oh my god, like it's like I'm playing offline. Like I could feel comfortable, and I know you can relate to this, Andy, is that when you're playing a lot of online, you could feel comfortable that it's gonna translate to your offline play.
Yup.
Which
I agree with that.
Which if it doesn't, it makes you not want to play online, which is why I don't play Sam Show anymore. Because I don't have offline an offline scene out here. And I'm not gonna travel to go play offline. So if I feel like this is not going to be a good thing for my offline play, then I won't do it. But the only game I'll do that for is the game that I love, which is 13. I'll fucking whatever. Who gives a shit? I just want to get some games in. I love the game so much. I'll do it. But now that I've been shown the way, I refuse to play Steam online. So
until rollback comes, there's no point.
Yeah. Yes.
How transformative has that been for you, Andy? Somebody that's gotten into O2UM since the rollback situation happened.
Oh man, like I think when I was learning O2UM, I just got lost in the sauce and shit. So
yeah,
I was playing like nonstop, And then the moment the beta was over, I was just playing Sam's show even on Parsec. I started noticing stuff I don't notice because the net play for O2UM was so good. I'm just like, oh my god, I feel a delay. I can't hit my shit.
Yeah.
It's like, is it like this for every game? So I started playing like other games. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Freaking Code Mystics is amazing. I'm just like, that's the gold standard for everything. I'm like, how do we replicate this and bring this into every game out there? Like that's the dream right now.
I mean, it was.
That's why we're lobbying so hard, and I'm making all these stupid memes and shit, just trying to get their attention. It's like we gotta find new avenues to complain. We can't just we gotta get really creative with it.
He woke up one morning. I am not joking. He's like, I found a calling in my social media life. I'm like, bro, it's a Sunday, 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to become a like advocate for netcode using memes. Like, this is my calling. I'm like, you just missed KOF, like O2UM, huh? He's like, dude, I can't. I had to pick up 13 because I miss it so much.
It's crazy too, because I don't know if you guys have tried Accent Core Plus like at all. But in my opinion, it's pretty good. Accent Core's netcode is pretty good. But I still had just such a great time playing, and the responsiveness of O2UM's rollback, and maybe it does have to be with the fact that it is peer-to-peer with no lobbies. But whatever it is, whatever this mystic art that Code Mystics has done with this rollback netcode, it's the best I've ever experienced, like hands down. I've never experienced a port or a game implement rollback this way, ever.
It's so responsive, right? You press a button, it comes out instantly. I'm just like, I feel like I'm playing. I haven't felt this way about any games for a long time, like playing offline. Like the last time I played this great was at WNF.
Yeah,
it hasn't been the same since.
Oh man, and you know, being in this situation with the pandemic too, it's like it's a godsend. Like for me, when I'm playing a game, or what drives me to play a game, is the fact that I feel like I can like learn stuff and apply theories, and it'll work in that environment the way that it should work, even offline, right? So if I can play a game like that online, like O2UM, I will put in the time to learn as many aspects of the game and become a decent player in that game. And I know that's true for a lot of other people, right? That a lot of other people also feel the same way. I mean, obviously it has for you, and I'm sure it would happen for other people, but it's just like there's a lot of people who weren't around to really give O2UM a real shot when it was released. And a lot of us started with 13 or even with 14, that this gives us an opportunity to go back and play some of the classics to mirror what an offline experience could look like as best as possible. And it just feels like now I don't feel like I'm missing out. I can see what people were talking about with this game, where when I played it online before, I hated it, you know?
Yeah, I don't blame you. But now it's so good. Like, I'm playing anybody in the United States, and it just feels the same. Like, there's a consistency. That's the thing you want. You don't want to be having like 10 frames of delay and then 4 frames of delay. You want consistency when you're playing. So you feel like your inputs are coming in right. You feel like all the stuff that you've been learning, you could apply it to every single person you run into.
How quickly would you guys abandon Parsec+Cloud service for this type of netcode?
Oh,
shit! Instantly, dude. I close up shop. Thank everybody. It's like write my retirement letter to Parsec.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. I that's the thing. I don't think people realize. I would put the Parsec experience into 3 categories. It's the players. All they do is they have to just connect. They're not really losing anything on their end. And then there are the people who host, right? And they're lucky in the sense that all the resources have been provided to them, but they just have to deal with like the credits, the cost, and maintaining the servers.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. At that level, it's a lot of work. But if props to the guys who do the testing, right? Every time you have a new game to try out, there's actually like going from Google to Azure or an Amazon, you have to fine tune every server to be perfect for that game.
There's different variables for each game and server.
Yeah, like one server, for example, AWS, you can, I think we have like, how many cores? Only 4 cores in that one. And then for, Google, we realized, okay, it's going to need 8 cores for this one. And in Azure, Song Gohan, one of the East Coast players, had to do a lot of fine tuning to figure it out. And it's all that testing and stuff takes a lot of time. So for anyone who really loves the game, it's easier for them if it's already done, right? All you need to do is just follow the instructions. But if you're coming in and you want to try your, let's say, I don't know, Grand Blue, I don't think anyone's really, not that I know of, has tried Grand Blue, but they would have to do a lot of testing.
There's a few guys in the East Coast have done it. I know some guys do for Dragon Ball also.
Yeah.
It's a shame you have to do it for modern games. I felt like this third-party program is meant for previous gen games that don't even have online features. But to have Parsec for games that came out this decade is like
Sam Show.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah,
it puts into perspective a lot of things, like a lot of stuff that developers need to work on.
I just recently thought about it though. Let's just say Sam Show came out today, right? To answer your question, and to you too, Andy. If Sam Show came out today with rollback, but still broken lobbies, would you still abandon Parsec?
Would I still? I mean, the rollback is there. It's just you can't do lobbies because it crashes over and over. We start bitching about lobbies all day. I could bitch about lobbies all day. But as long as you can play with each other, that's the main thing right now, at least post-COVID and everything. We have no choice but to do this.
Because it would be a similar thing if, for example, 13 got the rollback netcode, but it doesn't have lobbies. I would abandon Parsec and the cloud for that. It sucks because honestly, for me, the way that I've been running it, I know you guys told me that it is definitely, and I agree. This is not the optimal way to run your cloud server because there's just too many variables going on. But it's pretty sick that you could have like almost a legit lobby. I've had like 5 people in there, and I don't recommend this because there's bad things can happen.
Okay. You have them all connected at the same time. Huh?
Yeah, we're all in there, and the thing is, I'm like, damn, this is sick. This is like what I wanted forever because I don't have to kick anybody. You could just stay in there. Because what I would do is, you know how when somebody connects and then they plug in their control and they move it and it like registers it. Once you have everybody connected, you wouldn't have to do that anymore. All you would have to do is make sure everybody had their controllers disconnected except for the people that are playing, and we could all view it as though we're there. You know what I mean?
Yes, you could do this. I know for sure you could do it. I don't know how much it causes the game or anything. I know it's very minimal. From what I've been told, as long as you boost up the bandwidth share, right?
Dude, it's the closest I've ever gotten to running a legit lobby where I don't have to worry about if I'm streaming this through Discord to somebody, that like all the different inputs and outputs for like OBS, if I'm streaming it or whatever. It is the straight to the point streaming experience that I was able to experience with KOF13. Because I'm going to tell you something, man. Streaming KOF13 with Steam, let's just say I was 100% okay with Steam netcode. I have to play 100% of the matches, and it's fucking hard, man. Like it's a very intense game, it's very stressful. So it's hard to stream for like 3 to 4 straight hours or more than that. And trying to talk and, explain what's going on and all that stuff. And just being able to be like, all right, you guys beat me, cool. Jason, get in there, play whoever, and I get to talk shit. It's awesome. It's optimal experience for streaming, right?
Yeah, that's why lobbies are so important. So I think why it worked with you is because you probably had the bandwidth at max
mm-hmm.
for in tournament, especially with KOF 15. We want people to have like the most optimal experience. So I actually reduce the bandwidth down to 15. That's why when I made a mistake when you hopped on for top 8, it was bad. Like behind the scenes, you and Hell Pockets are going at it. We were panicking, like legit panicking, because we crashed the entire lobby.
Yeah.
Nothing was working. Restarting Parsec didn't work because I forgot to kick people out. So I connected 4 dudes.
Oh,
plus myself,
shit.
plus myself sharing 15 bandwidth. Bad idea. So I think that's probably why yours didn't crash, because your bandwidth was probably at like 50, which is the default.
I like the idea of having people unplug and plug their controller, because whoever unplugs, the other guy plugs in, you take that controller spot, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. This is like you and the boys just like hanging out, drinking, playing. It's that offline experience simulator.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. And this is why like I brought you guys on, is because there's obviously a momentum heading into like getting these lobbies and rollback, right? Like there is some serious momentum happening with this kind of stuff, with all the successes that the people or the companies that lately have implemented this type of stuff and the success that they're having with the community. It's unavoidable now. I think we're at the point where you just can't throw in a delay-based netcode. I don't think it's gonna fly.
Oh yeah, that shit will put your game dead on arrival. Like right now, just like Twitter has so much power right now. Yeah. The moment you release a shitty game, you become a meme, and that lasts throughout your whole life now. Now your whole freaking company is a meme.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's just. Grand Blue is the last delay-based game I believe that's ever going to be released. Everything after Grand Blue now, that shit doesn't fly anymore.
Oh man, it's just the future is so bright if we could actually get lobbies and rollback. Like, for me, I would almost play probably 90 to 95% of the games that are out there if they all had this level of netcode. I would have a problem picking. Like, oh fuck, what do I play today?
Oh man, you rub your hands together like, yeah, what do I play? I don't know. Like from what I've been told, companies don't know if they should outsource it or in-house it. Because I know with Street Fighter they did in-house and it ended up really bad.
Yeah.
And Tekken supposedly had rollback, but it was like an in-house rollback. And recently they made some changes to it, and it actually helped it out a lot. But they're still very, I want to say, like beginner-like in this whole rollback GGPO part of like.
It's just that the bar's so low as well. That's something that I think we need to address. Is that the bar for netcode is already ridiculously low. So when somebody makes a decent improvement, it's like fuck,
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this guy's playing this other guy from Japan, and he's in the United States, like, overnight.
Yeah,
in Tekken.
Yeah,
I don't believe this. But hey, you tried it out. What did you think of it?
I thought it was great. It's like it. I don't know. Like I know the community really well in KOF, right? So more or less, I'll figure out who's from where, even if like I don't know them. I'm like, oh, this is a Midwest player, this is East Coast player, whatever. But in Tekken, I don't know where people are from. But I've played a lot of online in general, like ranked mode and casual or whatever lobbies, and it was really good. I had the most consistent connections with everybody that it played. I even played a Wi-Fi player because I didn't know what the icon was. I was like, oh, this icon's different. What does that mean? And then afterwards, I saw somebody put up a meme or something, and it had the little Wi-Fi indicator. I was like, oh, I played somebody on Wi-Fi. And you know what? Actually, it was terrible. I take that back. The Wi-Fi was garbage. I can't let this propaganda get out about Wi-Fi actually working.
Yeah, that shit doesn't slide down around here.
Just get a cable, guys.
It's scary. It's scary because, Code Mystics kind of set the bar, right? Not only did they do such a great job with O2UM, but we had the opportunity, the players had the opportunity to do community testing. That's the dream for every community in their game, right? There's like communication, there's feedback, and like I feel like it came out so good because that opportunity was there.
Yeah, I felt like Guilty Gear wasn't gonna do that until they saw O2UM do that, so they followed suit.
I do know that they've been trying to implement it on their own. I forget the guy's name that was involved with it, but as a community, they've been trying to get rollback into Plus R on their own without the help of ArcSys.
Yep, I remember that. There was a giant long Twitter post about it. It goes back even a year.
It might go back like 2 years. It was a while ago. I remember seeing it, and people were excited. And I was like, "Oh, that's great." But
yeah,
I think
they disappeared for the longest time. I remember that.
I think it's because they got absorbed into the project. Is what happened. Again, I don't want to make stuff up, but these are parts that I'm pretty sure happened, that they got absorbed into the project, and now that whole component is a part of that. But yeah, it's just, man, it's been so hard and to get companies to implement this. And honestly, the thing that happened with Street Fighter probably convinced a lot of people to take a step back from that, because we thought as a community, at least I did, that once you get rolled back into it's going in Street Fighter V, oh, that's awesome, cool. And then it was considered kind of a failure. What are other companies going to do when Capcom leads the way in a lot of the stuff that's happening in fighters? People didn't appreciate. You guys finally put GGPO and people didn't appreciate it. Well, fuck, what's the point then? That could happen,
I mean, I like the direction where the companies are going. They're having the community test out the games. Like, no one can find more bugs than the community members and stuff. Like, people that play the game, they can find out busted shit like week 1, day 1, as opposed to a bunch of suits sitting around trying to figure out how to work the game. Like these projects where you have the community test the game's netcode over your series like 2 or 3 weeks, it speeds up the process of just like implementation, because you know what doesn't work. Now you're trying to figure out what works.
And we also have like internalized data, right? Where it's like, let's just say Desmond, who I had done a podcast with recently, let's just say prior to O2UM being released, right? I played Desmond and it was bad. Post O2UM, it was fantastic. I mean, like, what more of an advertisement for how awesome your netcode is than that, right? You can't get that from people that are just testing it and they're not a part of the community, Like, this isn't something that's been tested prior just because we love the game and we're trying it out. There's just so much data that we hold on to as a community from trying it out and trying our best to play this version of the game, that when you do community testing like this, and to give credit to Code Mystics, they've been great at communicating themselves. That's also something that we don't get a lot of when it comes to this type of stuff, especially like on release.
And they're very good at clarifying some misconceptions out there. I think I it's one of my lobbying tweets for Sam Show lobbies, and someone mentioned like, oh, it's not possible with Sam Show because it's what was it? What was the argument?
No, it was because it's the only reason why they did it with their other games is because of emulators.
Yeah.
but then they had to
Oh,
correct them and say O2UM isn't an emulating game. They
yeah.
had to do it from the ground up.
Yeah, which I appreciate that. I definitely took that as a bone, because
Mhm.
not to say they're saying, oh, Sancho is going to have rollback, but it just gives you hope for the newer gen games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They demystified a lot of ideas that I feel the community isn't educated enough to make a good way of breaking down what's actually happening, and giving us some concrete answers, like what you guys just explained, and the fact of like, well, technically we can do what we do to newer games, but it just is a much bigger effort because it takes more time and the games themselves are bigger, so it requires us to do more work. But ultimately, it's whether SNK wants to pay us to do this or not, is basically what they broke it down to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and they clarified it that you need to lobby for it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um and I don't know, I thought it was really smart on their end, right? They're transparent,
Mm-hmm.
they clarify things, because I think for the longest time people would stop. They would see, like, there's no point in lobbying for these for like a netcode fix or a lobby fix if their game isn't possible, right? It's not old
Yeah.
enough or whatever. But that's why, like, I really, really, really hope SNK continues to work with them in future projects and not resort to in-house, because
Yeah.
that's scary.
I mean, you could tell by how successful it is by like how much, I want to say, buzz they get on Twitter, and then how many people actually hop on Steam and play. Like you see the numbers jump even with Guilty Gear.
Mm-hmm.
You see like 200-man tournaments just because they have lobbies and rollback
Oh my god, bro.
every single week up until like what was that, like they have a couple more days, so they're running their final tournament. It's probably gonna hit 300 again. I
Dude,
mean,
if we had lobbies for every game from O2UM, 98UM, FE, and 13, and 14, and Sam Show, dude, it's literally the sky's the limit. There's nothing holding anybody back from growing the community. Literally, we've been saying that is the only thing. Up until then, it's on the community. And um, especially if you're a part of it, you're entrenched in it, you're a TO and you're doing stuff, what people are willing to do and what people aren't willing to do. And at this current point, I've had this discussion a lot with Gibby and Hell Pockets, Manchester and Hell Pockets, the Game Goons, my Game Goons people. I've always told them, I'm like, dude, offline tournaments, as much as I love them, as much as I love running them, and being a part of it and playing offline, specifically for KOF and SNK games, it is so difficult to get people to show up, especially now. It's just very, very hard. Even before the pandemic, it's just so hard. But if we can get a good online experience, those people would 100% show up. And a good example is when you guys ran that tournament, you know who never goes to these things? Juicebox never goes.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
Casio Pedro never goes. I mean, recently in the past few years, it's like if we held something at a Super Arcade, Juice ain't gonna go. It's like, for what? I mean, I wouldn't go. It's far. It's like, well, why would I go to that? What would motivate me to do that? I don't get to play and practice. So if I go, I'm gonna be pretty like rusty. You know what I mean? That's another thing. So now that you guys ran this and they were able to see that this is a legitimate thing that they can test their skill on, I mean, they're here, like I'm playing, they're playing. It opens up the possibilities like dramatically. And with a lobby to games like this, I mean, a good example of somebody picking this game up because of how comfortable the learning experience is like Thomas, dude. Like TDO. I've seen him steadily rise in skill, because he can actually test himself in a legitimate environment, and you can see him grow, as well as other players. But it's like specifically him, I've noticed like a big jump, and had it not been in an environment like that, I don't think he would push it that far, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy because before the pandemic, Swagnarok, Daryl,
Mhm.
was actually hosting. Was it monthlies or weeklies, Andy?
I think it was monthlies at his house, right?
Yeah. So actually, KOF 13 was still going on for the longest time, like at
Yeah.
his house, and the UCI guys kept playing, but it's just the same dudes playing each other over and over and over again. So
Uh-huh.
even though it's offline, you're not really growing because you're playing the same folks. And then, but now with Parsec, it kind of changes the tone because now you're introducing more players. Um, but you're still limited, right? You're
Mhm.
limited on a regional level.
Yeah, but then now you have PC, you have all these sales on Steam every couple months.
Mhm.
So now there's a reason to buy it because now there's a scene you can play online. Even if you have to like make friends or whatever,
Mhm.
like you're forced to do that in COVID life to
Mhm.
make friends online,
Yeah.
and it's way more approachable. You practice now with your $3 game because you got a crazy ass discount.
Uh-huh.
You go on, you make friends, you get on their Parsec server, you play, you learn, you lose, get better. Like you actually, there's hope to actually learn the game for the first time in 2020. Learn a new game,
Mhm.
apply it, get better. Before like COVID's over and you can actually play offline, and it felt like you had the full offline learning experience.
Yeah. I feel like for me, KOF 13 is actually a new game to me, right? And
Mhm.
it's just so exciting. Like just watching it, it just feels like a new game just came out. But I don't have like the necessary tools to actually grow the community because you're limited, right? You're limited on a regional level. You're limited because people can't just hop onto lobbies on their own.
Yeah.
It's still like they still have to rely on like the few people who actually have lobbies or
Mhm.
servers to host, and it's what, 3 people in all of SoCal right now, and
And
like one dude in like East Coast.
I
Mhm.
think this game more than any other game that I've seen in the longest time, where there's like an intimidation factor for people learning
Oh yeah.
because they watch players play and they get like it's kind of like okay, like I would say it's kind of like you have like LeBron play and then
Mhm.
you have LeBron's teammates.
Mhm.
Like back in Cleveland, they just stand around and watch him play the whole time. That's like these guys that are watching you play King of
Yeah.
Fighters on your stream.
Yeah.
They're just in awe about all the shit that you're doing. That they just stand around and watch. They don't believe that they could do it themselves because it's so intimidating. You're getting hit by these juggles, like these counter hit conversions and all this stuff. There's a lot of flash with the game, and it scares people. And then they go and they do trial mode combos, which is like the worst thing you could do.
Uh-huh.
The trial mode like wasn't designed for you to apply it to real life situations. The trial mode was made so you could understand the juggle system of the game and stuff
Yeah.
and like the potential of the game. But people they buy the game and the first thing they look at trial and they can't get past trial 2, so they give up. And that's the King of Fighters 13, like the whole story from beginning to end. Is where they lose a bunch of these players for that reason.
Yeah.
So
And if you don't know somebody in the community, good luck trying to really master some of the skill sets that's required to play KOF.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you sit there and you learn all these combos, but then when you play an actual person, you might be lucky to get like a light combo off of them. Maybe you
Uh-huh.
get like a special cancel every once in a while, but you're not going to be tagging people with combos that you're doing in trial mode.
Yeah. I'm about to do this Hwajai HD 90% combo, baby. And I don't even
Yeah,
play this game.
I'm a jump heavy and all this shit. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think you did such a great job, by the way, during just kind of segueing into Andy's topic about how people can be intimidated and stuff. Because
Mhm.
I think after you did your or during, it was either after or during your warm up session, you're like, I wish I had a better way that would allow, maybe beginners or like mid level players to
Mhm.
feel comfortable enjoying the
I,
lobbies.
I think a lot of the misconception that King of Fighters is a hard game
Hmm.
is the blame is put on the King of Fighters players too,
Hmm.
where they take pride in how hard the execution is.
Yeah.
So I want to say they exaggerated a lot about how hard the game actually really is when you
It's
actually play it.
it's hard to I guess explain it, because it's like there's some things that are easy for me that I know are difficult for other players, and I would have to point that to experience. Um, like the counter hit conversion stuff, I grinded those things out at a certain point in time, like really hard. But now it's automatic. I don't have to think about it, you know? So yeah, it's easy for me to do it. But at the same time, kind of like something you guys were talking about before is like you had the UCI guys playing, right? Like Daryl hosting a session, right? They hadn't played anybody that can consistently throw them over and over and over again, right? Like
Mhm.
I remember I used to be able to throw Thomas all the time, and then after a while I couldn't throw him anymore. Like he was breaking a lot of the throws, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like that makes me so fucking happy when I see something like that, when I see actual growth in a player. But they had to get exposed to other players, right? If your top dog that's always playing is always forced to never change. They never have to change, and they never have to exploit the system to its fullest. Then they're only gonna learn a fraction of the actual game. You know, their perspective will be skewed. And sometimes I forget about this when I'm explaining my experience with KOF13. Like when people explain about the tiers and all that other stuff, and it's like, oh, you don't have to worry about EXIORI. Not everybody can do the infinite or whatever, or Benimaru. Not everybody can do the lightning juggle, lightning loops, right? But there was a certain point in time where, at minimum, people could at least do 3 to 4 reps. Like maybe they couldn't do the infinite, but also people could do the infinite, you know. So I was around in that experience when doing that, but not everybody played with those players, right? And this is the disadvantage of having bad netcode, because you will have an experience. Let's just say somebody that's not from SoCal or the East Coast, around people that can't do this type of stuff and be like, oh, I have an opinion about this game and this is what it is. But you've never experienced a whole big chunk of what this game is actually played like, you know? And I know, Andy, that is something you can definitely relate to in Sam Show, because the same exact shit happens, right? Certain shit does not fucking fly in offline Sam Show, right?
Yup, yup. I totally agree with you right there. Like, people they from the outside they look at the game and they make like a general statement that they think applies throughout the whole region.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they make you think that the game is played a certain way, but then you have somebody randomly show up and then changes the whole conception of the game. It's like the meta of the game you think is one way, but in actuality it's played a different way. Kind of like how try to use like an example. We had a player that no one's ever seen before. His name's Goro.
Mm-hmm.
He plays like a character nobody plays, Yoshitora.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, everybody like wrote it off like, oh, this character's trash, all this stuff. Like you're supposed to play really conservative.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever jump. You're supposed to be afraid all the time. Play
Mm-hmm.
like take the lead. And this guy out of nowhere just comes through and just like runs a train on everybody. And like the whole game changed overnight. Where now you have to get aggressive. Now you had to anti-air more.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to do like just defense. There's a lot of stuff that people don't see because not everybody takes advantage of the mechanics of the game, like every aspect of the game.
Yeah, and then you like if it's online, you kind of don't have to take advantage of that stuff because you win anyways. You don't need to do that stuff. Like you don't need to convert off of every counter hit you get in KOF, because like it's hard for a lot of people to do it. Most people won't do it. But then when you play people offline, way more people can convert off of these counter hits, and now it's a real threat. It's something you have to learn yourself now in order to get ahead, because now all these other players offline can do it. You know,
you die off of a counter hit jump CD when you've never seen it before.
Yeah,
you go offline and the first guy you see in the first round of pools just like does it to you.
Yeah,
like what the heck just happened?
Or like whiff punishes in Sam Show. It's like, what the fuck? I just got whiff punished so hard for this shit. Like,
you're like, this is not possible. You can't do this. But we're offline now. We could do everything.
Yeah, at this point in time, like I'm just so excited for the future, and for the potential of, I see so many people on the edge of, like, if good netcode came around, then they would be able to experience something that you and I and a select few of other people have been able to experience, that has made us almost addicted to playing some of these games because of how fun they are, right? In this form. That you feel the sense of actually learning something, or the opportunity to actually learn, is now presented itself with rollback. Like, I played a little bit of Guilty Gear, and I had that feeling. I was like, oh shit, I can block a lot of this. All this stuff that I thought was like unblockable, right? That I was like, oh man, I'll never be able to block some of this melee mix-up stuff, right? And maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe I have gotten a lot better. That's something I don't take into consideration too. It's like, when I played those games, it was like 7-8 years ago, and I was a much shittier player. But but now it's like I'm playing and like a decent connection. I've never played a decent connection in Guilty Gear Accent Core ever. Like in any version that I've ever played online, period, it's been shitty. So when I played this and I was like, wow, I could actually block a lot of this shit, or like I can convert straight hits into this or that, or counter hits and all this other stuff, and it feels fluid. It just makes me think, like, there's people out there that are just like me, that are going to have this experience, and they're going to get sucked into it, and it's going to create a whole nother member to the community. It's going to create a whole new buzz to this type of stuff. And it's just been overflowing in this contained environment for KOF. KOF has been ready to explode, and I feel the same way for Sam Show, because, I mean, let's just take it back to when Sam Show first got released. I mean, that game was pretty huge to me. Just the way that people responded to it, and people were dedicated to trying to learn it in the offline events, and the community that it created. It was super fucking exciting what I saw, you know, and what I was able to experience. And once the pandemic hit, it just, if it was in the decline, fuck, did it put it even in more massive mudslide, bro. Like,
yeah, buried that game completely.
It sucks, man.
Literally embraced death.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. It didn't help. Like, it amplified the fact that the net play was so bad. Because before, you could handle the net play because you're just practicing, so you could play in your weeklies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now weeklies don't exist no more. So this is your life now.
Yeah.
So you're just sitting there, you're just playing, and you're like, damn, I can't believe I gotta do this for like the next 4 or 5 hours. And it just gets to you, and you see the whole community, everyone's just like agitated. People are quitting left and right. And
oh
stuff.
gosh, I think running, because so when the pandemic started, obviously, like, you start losing resources for your local community, right?
Uh-huh.
And so Andy and I were just like, we want to keep Sam Show afloat.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, we didn't think that we would be TOs. Like, we thought we were going to be TOs for a couple months, but it became this passion project because, gosh, people are miserable. Like, I feel really to run.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
Run a weekly with Samurai Shodown was painful, so painful, because you have players who are miserable. They're all miserable playing,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're angry, and then you have like crashing lobbies. And I think one night I legit had a breakdown where PSN was down, Discord was fucking up, Twitch was just on another level, and Sam Show was doing its usual thing with its lobbies.
It was like the perfect shitstorm.
Yeah, and it happened all at once, and we're doing top 8, and I was just like, dude, I am legit given the tools to fail. Like, there is literally no fucking way I can do this. And but it was so, and then you started seeing, like, oh my god, people started dropping.
There was like
retirement.
the funniest thing was the SNK community manager was in the Twitch chat, Kaiser.
Yeah.
And we started shitting on the game. so badly.
It happened that
It
night.
was such an awkward moment for him. He's like, "Hey guys," and then a row of people just like, "Oh man, lobby's crashing." Da, 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 da. He's like, "Whoa, I shouldn't have gone in here."
It sucks because at that point you're just like, do you continue to make people suffer because they have to enter these really really shitty tournaments, or do you do something about that, right? There's literally nothing you could do. And that's when you start seeing like retirement tweets. Like everyone thinks they're Michael Jordan, and they're like, "Yo, I'm gonna announce my retirement for Samurai Shodown," and it just that's why like Parsec was really important because it was our like last ditch effort.
Yeah, it's like the last lifeline. There's nothing after that.
We had no choice. Like
at this point, we were crying to SNK like they weren't listening.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're listening now. But back then, a couple months ago, it felt like a lifetime ago. I was just shouting into the wind. Nothing was coming back. I couldn't even hear my own echo.
Yeah, it sucks. It really, really sucks because, you kind of, you kind of had to combine communities to make Sam Show work, right? Before, like, you just kind of have like SoCal, like WNF was just SoCal, right? But now WNF is like literally all of like North America at this point, and that's because the numbers dropped tremendously, and if you didn't expand, there's just no way, like you can't even have a top 8. And until this day, by allowing Mexico to enter the tournament, it kind of helped invigorate like the spirit again. But until what extent, right? Are we gonna still playing? If we're not gonna bring in new players, this is just gonna
like people don't want to see the same dudes winning over and over and over. Like even any game, you can take any game for like if you see Reynald win 10 weeks in a row, do people still want to tune in to watch Reynald win 10 weeks in a row?
That's a different story though. Reynald's a different story.
But funny you guys bring that up though, because this is a problem that I had with running a Neo Dojo special, which I ran. The first one was with you versus Kizzy, and it was awesome. I thought it was sick as fuck. But when I decided to want to try to run another one, I was like, where is the community right now? Like, a lot of the people that were there leading up to Evo aren't there anymore. Like, the level of competition isn't there. Now it's Andy winning everything, And then I don't even know if like what Reynolds doing, Valle was really good. I haven't seen him play in forever. Kizzy hadn't played in forever. And I just, for an exhibition type of event, for those of you listening who don't know what Neo Dojo Special is, it was an exhibition. It was a 1st to 10 in Samurai Shodown, and we had money for whoever won the event. I forget what it was. I think it was like $100. Do you remember? It was like something.
Oh yeah, it was $100. It was nice, $100. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm glad you liked it. That was the whole point. But yeah, that's what the event was, right? And you had commentators. We even did a pre-show analysis and a post-show analysis. It was fun. It was fun as fuck, and I really, really dug it.
That shit was sick. It was right after Kizzy won CEO Taku.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Who's coming in hot?
Oh man. Anyways, that experience left me feeling good, right? I was like, that's great. But I had to know that you and Kizzy and the environment that we played in had to be very controlled. This is not a tournament, right? This is an exhibition event. So it's way more of a controlled environment than a tournament. So it's semi-possible, right? But you can't run events like that without tournaments backing it. You just brought up how like Kizzy was just riding high off of another tournament. Well, those tournaments don't exist anymore. So what are we going to build those types of events on? You know what? Kizzy or Andy was looking kind of like he was struggling last week on WNF. I think we're going to throw second a bone here, and we're going to do a whole event about it. We're going to have all this analysis of everything, and it's like, I don't know.
You can't run like an exhibition type of thing without a story. There has to be a story behind why these two guys want to play each other.
the run back.
Whether it be
Yes.
a run back or a
Yes.
rivalry, or one guy's riding off of a high and the other guy's an up and comer,
Yeah.
old versus new. If there's no story and everything's just based on like a weekly where this guy played 5 other guys and this guy over here entered a tournament once a month or something.
Yeah.
There's no hype involved. You can't build up anything. It's tough.
Dude.
That's why you have Andy making memes with like with our Sam Show tournaments as Mexico players, or like begin you guys, and like
you were just trying to get them excited.
Mexico's trying
to,
you know,
you want to have some pride, at least because you're repping your scene now. Everybody plays online now.
Yeah.
So it's more than ever. If a tournament is like it lets everybody play, you gotta represent your region really well, because if you do bad, it makes your region look bad.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I don't. I mean, I think it takes a certain person to view it that way. It's just like, if it's in you, it's in you. Like for me, I'll always look at it that way no matter what. You could tell me, oh, that's stupid, like having pride in your region or whatever, but you will never take away my SoCal badge, bro. Like ever. Like that is, when I play, in my head, I'm like, I'm representing SoCal. Not just even SoCal, right? It's just, I'm representing all the people that showed me how to fucking play. You know, like Mr. KOS, Reynolds, all the other players that I've played that were really great players. Like I always think about them and the stuff that they taught me, or not even taught me, maybe just from playing them that I learned observing and stuff. And I always put that on myself because, you know, it's a legacy out here in SoCal. There's a lot of great players out here. And it's something that we've talked about before when we started this podcast. And one of the things that I remember that was so captivating, this is why I loved going to Wednesday night fights for like when KOFXIII was getting ran there, and then the run back, and then finally coming back and playing a game like Sam Show where there was a lot of crossover talent from other games playing the game, at least leading up to Evo, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember the first time I went and I saw what everybody was doing. I saw what you were doing. I saw what Vi was doing. I saw what Reynolds was doing, and I saw the level of play. And I remember I saw you versus Vi, and then Reynolds versus you, and Reynolds versus Vi, and I just saw that like little triangle there. And I remember telling Reynolds, I was like, what the fuck, bro? The shit that is happening in this fucking tournament is insane. This shit should be fucking huge. Like, no lie. The stuff that was happening in Sam Show leading up to Evo that year at Wednesday night fights, to me, I was like, you guys are shaping the game. Like, the game is getting shaped before our eyes. I don't think people know what's going on. You know, I don't think people are appreciating how the game is changing. And then go figure, at Evo, like top 32, everybody was there, you know?
Yup. And then Reynolds and Vi got top 8. It's crazy. I picked Reynolds to win the whole thing. Just how much he was beating my ass leading up to that. Like the ass whooping I got from him for months is like,
yeah,
it got me better. So I'm like, when you play against Reynolds, you're not even playing the game anymore. You're playing against Reynolds. So he simulates like every different play style bunched into one player. So at one minute he could be like running away, just like fucking annoying the shit out of you.
Yeah. And
the next minute he just turns it up and now he's in your face the whole time. That's just how this dude plays, and you can't really predict his next move.
He's I've seen him play a lot of different games over the years. He's played he played Persona at a really high level. He's played Street Fighter at a high level. I don't know. There's been a bunch of games I've seen him play, and he, to me, is either my favorite or second favorite player to watch. Just simply because when he's on, this dude is like, I don't know, man. I don't want to give him the credit of being like, yeah, it's like watching Jordan in his prime doing the most ridiculous fucking shit. But the thing is, it's like sometimes Reynolds isn't consistent, right? He'll have like a ridiculous fucking match where he just does the most insane galaxy brain shit and fucking ridiculous effort he's ever done or whatever, right? And then he'll lose to a lesser player for whatever reason, you know?
Yeah. That sounds like him.
But it's like, to me, watching this guy play at his peak level, I mean, all you got to do is boot up the KOF13 tournament from 2013, where the guy runs it back 6 games in losers to win the whole tournament. And it's like, when you play against certain players, it's like the first time you get to play against a real athlete. Like, I don't know if you guys played sports in high school or any type of like school sports or something like that.
Oh yeah, we both played basketball and we coach basketball after.
Oh, okay.
In college too.
Yeah.
Well, not college basketball, but we coached basketball.
Like the first time I ran into a real baller, like this one guy that could shoot. I swear to God, I was like, nobody in the gym could stop him. He just shoots over you.
Yeah.
He's one of the tallest guys in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
He has crazy elevation.
Yeah.
And he has like this smooth stroke. Like you just know where to block him.
Yeah.
So he can sit here and do this all day. I'm like, is this what you're supposed to feel when you're playing Michael Jordan? You're just getting like,
are you not in the NBA? Like,
yeah,
what happened?
Dude, what are you doing here? You should be playing for money. Stop playing us.
Dude, well, that to me is what it's like to play against to watch somebody like Reynolds, right? It's like I used to play football in high school, and I remember when there would be a clear difference between everybody else. And the thing about like athleticism, let's just break it down to straight up athleticism, right? Especially in football. We used to have a running back. He was this kid was amazing. Like, poetry in motion, the way this dude would run. I can't describe to you like this, how this person does the things that they did, right? The way they would move, the way they jump over people, and just the sheer elegance and strength being on display, that it was like watching like a tiger run. You know, it's crazy. And it's just like, when you get exposed to a player like that, you see a whole nother level that you thought it was like, oh, that's just not a thing that people really do, right? But it's even crazier when you finally reach a pretty good level yourself, that even that appreciation goes even higher. Like, I don't know what's up with this fucking guy. This guy is a mystery. I thought I could figure this out. But no, this guy is literally as crazy as I thought 10 years ago when I didn't know shit about fighting games. You know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's crazy because now, like, for a while, Reynolds kind of like a hidden talent. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like he's getting more exposure and more people see it. And there's more players out there like this too. That's like the whole point. I want Samurai Shodown and King of Fighters to get notoriety because I want to bring these players out. Like these guys that you've never seen before, just do stuff that you didn't think was possible. Mm-hmm. Like Reynolds doing the reverse Rambo into someone jumping on a cross up or something. Like, yeah, he was just inputting it at the chance that he's gonna get crossed up, he's gonna let it rip. Yeah. Like who could think of shit like that, you know, on the fly in like a high pressure situation?
That comeback he had against Juicebox in the tournament, where
oh my gosh,
I was, dude, you know how many times he's dropped HD combos? He's like, all the time. Dude drops HD combos all the time, and he has not been practicing this game anywhere near as close as he used to, you know. And then he does that sequence with Benny when he brings it all the way back, and it's to like a pixel of life, and he fucking wins that round. And this goes back into the whole thing that you were talking about, right? Now that you guys ran that tournament, it gives me, a person who likes to run exhibitions, a reason to run an exhibition. Now there is an actual ecosystem to create these types of events, right? Where it was non-existent before. Like, if anything, it would be a novelty thing. Like, before I was thinking about, well, I guess I could host like a match with, before Parsec+Cloud, I was like, maybe I could have Mr. KOF and Randall come over and they'll have a match. But realistically, what's going to motivate them to really play really well, you know, to really take it to the next level, to make a comeback and do stuff like that, you know, because they're friends, they play with each other. I don't think that they would make it a big deal, right? There's not a lot on the table for them. But the way that this tournament played out, you know, is I would just love to see what these guys would do in a scenario where it's given time to understand who their opponent is, and they're really going to get put into the spotlight, and they're also going to get the opportunity to win some money. You know, it's just like you said, Andy. It's like you want to bring forward these players that you know are hidden talents, that are like amazing players, and I also want them to be rewarded for the skill set that they have, because I think that it's so rare what their ability is, and I feel like there should be an appreciation for them. There should be an appreciation for the game. You know, it's just, we're finally getting to the point that we don't need necessarily to have support, or I mean, it's nice, but to have a lot of support from other big names to promote us, or like the company itself to promote us, where it's like the players' skill set themselves is enough to carry weight on an event like this. Similarly to how well the first Neo Dojo special went, and to how well your guys' tournament that you guys ran went. I mean, like I keep telling you guys, hitting 220 plus viewers in an event is, for KOF in general, is pretty ridiculous, man. Especially for it not being a major.
Well, for us, like, I think for me, I'm realistic, right? I'm like, is it 200 and 200 plus because it's the first Parsec, KOF 13 tournament, or the first tournament in the longest time? Because I'm down to run a second one later on, right? But I'm scared that the interest would die down by then. And so that makes me really excited that you're considering doing an exhibition, because that's going to drive the game even further with Parsec, in conjunction with Parsec. So when is it happening?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of scheduling that has to happen. I mean, obviously these people would have to be available, and then my commentators would have to be available, and the whole logistics of the thing. My plan is, for sure, I would like to have Reynolds on, and I want to reach out to Juice and some of the other guys. But I would say sometime early December is when I'd like to run it. But again, I don't have to find out when everybody's available. But
that's going to be exciting, because you're going to bring some really good content during the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought that this is something that is possible. It's just, it takes a group of people and the right momentum to make it work. This is why I never ran another Neo Dojo special. It just wasn't there. I didn't feel like it was there. I'm not just going to do an event just to do it. I have to be into it, because it's you guys know, it's a big effort, to do this type of stuff. Like, if I'm not enjoying it to an extent, or I don't enjoy the matchup, or it is what it is, then I'm probably not going to do it. And I've always been that way about creating content. Like, I can only create so much content for a game I don't enjoy, or for matches I don't enjoy. And man, that just reminds me of one that I really wanted to do. I wanted to do a Neo Dojo special event for Sam Show, where it was either Andy versus Didymo or Reno versus Didymo, and I never got to do it. And that fucking pisses me off.
Now one of them is all the way on the other side of the world.
Yeah, they're gone now. Yeah.
That would have been so sick, dude. Just thinking about it.
That point in time was fucking awesome. I remember you guys going back and forth with that dude, and then Andy was coming into prominence. And what I really like to do with Reynolds, what I really like to see is, I actually like to see him lose, like, because of what it means. It means we're probably gonna get Reynolds trying next time.
Oh yeah. I remember I was I think it was right after ECT. I was at the bar. It was at Barcode.
Yeah.
Garden Grove. I randomly see Reynolds there, and I'm just like, "Hey, dude, you want to play Sam Show?" And he's like, "I haven't played in months or whatever." So I was like, "All right." So we sit down. And I play like, I forget who. I don't play my main. I play like alternate, like Ukyo or something. Beat him like 10 straight.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, does he suck now, or did I just get really good?" And then you can see him. I was like, the first time in my life I've ever seen him frustrated.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why isn't this working?" And this has been a couple patches. Most of his bullshit has been patched out.
Yeah.
So, like, all the gimmicks are gone.
Yeah.
And then Reynolds like, "Man, you're really good." I'm like, Vi, come over here, play him. And then Vi bodies him too.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we didn't get good. You got bad.
Yeah. Dude, that's the mix-up he puts people in, though. Like, that situation you're just talking about will fuck people up, because it's like you're trying to understand where you stand in the totem pole of top players, right? You're like, okay, at this point in time, Reynolds was number one, right? And now I pretty much beat his ass, right? But then the next time you play him, you feel like the whole world comes crashing down on you. And it's like, what is this monster that won't let me live? Like, I can't get none of my shit off. Or it's like, it's just become such a hard task to overcome that it's going to take everything I got to beat this dude. Yeah, man, I really, really care for the community, and I can sense that you guys really care for it too. That's why it's for me and Gibby, Manchester, and Chris. Like, when we saw the things that you guys were doing, and I got involved with you guys with the lobby, I was like, I've semi-known Andy for a little bit. I've known Unim for a very long time. And we've kind of been in, like, what's it called? Revolving circles? Or
wait, when did you meet? When did you two meet? Because I thought you two first met at the first Neo Geo at Super Arcade.
No, I've met him like at WNF.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
But we've been in circles where we've known people through, like, I know somebody that knows Andy kind of shit, you know?
Okay.
And I've known of him because he played Street Fighter 4 forever, since way back. That's when I first knew Andy, and we've been around similar circles for a while. And the people that he's hung around with, I pretty much know their vibe. So I was like, Andy seems like a cool guy or whatever, right? And I would love to see what he would do in Samsho. So when I heard that you were playing Samsho and I saw that you were playing, I was like, okay, this is really important when players like you come to a games company that you don't usually see. Like, people would probably consider you, prior to this, a Capcom player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Capcom players or anime players or whatever come to a game like this where they're not known for it, it always makes me so happy to see them succeed, because it always breaks that stereotype of like, oh, well, these other players can never learn how to play the KOF way or the Samsho way, whatever. And it's just like that meme of, I forget who's rubbing their hands together. Who the fuck was that? Oh, it's Birdman. Fucking Birdman. Yeah. Anytime I see, because, dude, I've seen you play before, and I know you know your shit, and I know you're really good. So I was like, it doesn't matter. If Andy plays this game, he's gonna be good. I thought the same thing when Warhawk played 13. And I forget. Oh, when Tatsu was playing Dragon Ball Fighters or whatever, I was like, these guys are really good fucking players. It's like, they're gonna beat people. They're gonna be pretty top of the food chain type players. Like, it's only gonna be a matter of time, especially if they're committed to it. So when I saw you were in it, and then I saw Vi was in it, I was like, oh my god, dude, this game is gonna be fucking perfect. And sure enough, man, you guys got in there, and I was like, okay, I really want to push this storyline, man. I mean, I want to try to keep these players invested, right? I mean, I don't know at the time, especially, like, how invested you were going to be or whatever, or VIA or any of the other players that weren't traditionally SNK players. But I thought to myself, I was like, I don't know, dude. I think for sure Andy's fucking hooked. This guy's going to fucking play. I was like, this guy seems like he's really into this game. I've seen people come to SNK games and be like, oh yeah, I fuck with it or whatever. I was like, but I see it in his fucking eyes. This guy is in it for the long haul. And I just want to tell you right now, I'm sorry for all the situations that happened to you, that you invested your time into an SNK game. Because
I got baited.
I mean, there's a saying of like, what is it? If you do what you love, no. Basically, love doesn't get the bills paid. Like, it could get you evicted from your house, you know, doing the things that you love, investing everything into what you love, right? Like it isn't always the best course of action, right? And all the things that played out with SNK, and now you didn't even get a chance to be a part of the tournament that you were admitted to through your qualification. I mean, welcome to the SNK family, bro. Like I don't know what other way to put it.
Oh man. Hey, I'm here, so at least I'll get myself prepared for a King of Fighters 15 when it eventually comes out.
Dude, Abe, we canceled our honeymoon so Andy can go compete
Shit.
for all those qualifiers.
Oh yeah.
That's the crazy thing. So we're like, we got the game. I bought the game. Technically, it was supposed to be my game. He picked it up. It was love at first sight, and he's like, I think I can do this. I think I can do well at Evo.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's go see how you do at Evo. And then after that, we're like, let's go on our honeymoon. And all of a sudden, you know, SNK releases the qualifier dates, and then you have like no time to even like plan because it was just last minute scheduling.
Classic SNK.
So
last minute planning.
We legit canceled our honeymoon.
Yeah.
So Andy can go and qualify. And then we're like, all right, Andy, if you're gonna cancel our honeymoon to do this, you better fucking like qualify. Yeah. So we can get a trip to go to Japan and then do our honeymoon there.
Yeah.
And then COVID happens.
Woo! Wow.
Good times.
Well, yeah, so I wanted to ask you, if it was up to you to design King of Fighters 15 from the ground up, what mechanics would you take from each King of Fighters and which one do you take?
Huh.
And if you had one innovative new idea you want to put in this one, whether it be like a ground bounce or a tag mechanic or an assist mechanic or everything, what would you include?
I mean, here's the thing with the new KOF, I would definitely want it to go in a direction that is different. I think we've had a lot of interpretations of the max mode system, whether it be HD max mode or the way that it works in 98. I want something a bit different, and something that I've never been able to experience is a game like KOF11, which has the tag system. Or a game like Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, which is a 2v2. But I guess that doesn't fall in line with the way that KOF works. But I would like to see some type of interpretation of the way that they ran 11. Some type of tag mechanic or something like that. Again, max mode, I think, has been explored to like so many various extents that I feel like that would bring a lot more different types of players to the game, and also excitement, because I've never played it. I would be interested to try that out. I suspect though that it's likely gonna interpret some type of max mode in it. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like the thing is for me is like I love almost all the KOF games. I think they're all fun in their own way. And I'd pretty much play anything. But I have to say, I don't want it to be like 13. And I don't want it to be like 14. Something else. Something else that the community hasn't been able to experience in a big way. And I feel like 11 is one of those classic games that never got to get experienced that way.
Yeah, I always put like the King of Fighters franchise with the Tekken franchise, where if you know one Tekken game, you could kind of like transfer your skills to the next version.
Yeah.
And there's slight changes, but overall the mechanics and the fundamentals are the same for almost all of them. But like the one thing that Street Fighter has over all those is the developers, they really run the risk of changing every single iteration completely different from the previous. Like, if you play Alpha, it's nothing like Third Strike. Third Strike, Street Fighter 4. Yeah. They might well be called different games. The name Street Fighter is the only thing that makes them the same. They don't resemble each other at all. With King of Fighters and Tekken, you know this is a King of Fighters game by the way they jump, by the way they move, they're running, like all the mechanics and everything. Like there has to be a core mechanics that never changes with the series.
Yeah, it's a fundamental part of the game. Like if you take away all the like one version of a jump in KOF, it's that then that would make it not a KOF game in a lot of people's eyes. It's like, what? I don't get a super jump or I don't get a super hop. Like, the fuck is this? You know? So it has that going for it. And like you said, Tekken has a lot of stuff like that too. So yeah, you're right. I didn't think about it that way because like my interpretation of Street Fighter is like I think every version of Street Fighter initially tries to be like somewhat of an amalgamation of like ST, but then ends up going completely different by the end. You know, like way different.
Oh yeah, that's why you see, like don't. I think Daigo's the only person that kind of like went with the flow with all versions of Street Fighter. But you see how many different competitive players there are. Like
yeah,
have Punk this iteration, and previously it was like let's say like all the Sea Viper players like Wolfcrown.
Oh yeah.
Like all their skills that they acquired for that version of the game, it couldn't transfer over to the next iteration. Just how different the mechanics.
Yeah,
It's like now fireballs become crap. So you have all these Shodo players, they don't know what to do, so they go and they play grapplers. And then you have like the Chun-Li players just like not playing Chun-Li no more. Everybody switching to different games because they can't they don't understand how this version of their franchise is being played. So rather than playing the new version, they go back to the previous iteration and stuff. That's why you see so many Third Strike players still playing Third Strike. Same with Street Fighter 4. But I felt like with King of Fighters, at least for the first couple of years, when a new version comes out, everybody's in it.
Yeah.
All the old guys, they come and they play it. They at least give it a shot.
Yeah, you could definitely say that. What ends up happening eventually is, like, I don't know if you sense this with this franchise, but there's a lot of pride in like a lot of KOF players, just people that are veterans and whatnot, and they might not even be that good. You know, they don't know that they're not that good, but they have a lot of pride. There's a lot of players with a lot of pride with this game because it has a long legacy. And what ends up happening a lot of times is like they'll pinpoint a certain mechanic in the game that they don't like, and that's the reason why they're losing, right? And so they'll be like, oh, it'll take losing to this one specific guy that they never fucking lose to, and they lose to him. I'm like, man, fuck this game. I knew this game was bullshit. Like, how the fuck did I lose to so and so or whatever? You know, it's like if I played Jason in another game and I was like, how the fuck did I lose to Jason? This is a bullshit game. I should never lose to him. And that's why him beating me in KOF14 is bullshit.
I don't suck. This game sucks.
Exactly. You know, now I'm going to start saying I don't play this game. You know, the best OS of all time.
Oh, man. Always keep that in my back pocket.
Yeah. So, okay, like, to kind of, I guess, wrap this whole podcast stuff, because we've talked about a lot of stuff, man. A lot of the stuff surrounding the SNK scene and stuff like that, and Parsec and Cloud and all that. I guess, where do you think, if, let's just say we do get lobbies, right? Everybody gets lobbies or whatnot. Do you guys see yourself running Samsho and KOF concurrently? Like, do you see yourselves pushing it even harder, or are you guys you're going to become more of a player? Like, what do you think the future holds for you guys as far as like what you guys do? Because I know you guys do it for the love and for the community and stuff like that, and that's how I feel about the stuff I do. Nobody really pulls me in any direction. I just want to do it because I want to do it. But where do you feel like all this stuff is leading you towards?
You know, it's kind of hard because with the pandemic, right? You have a lot of content creators, but you don't have a lot of viewership or participants, right?
Right.
But I would say if rollback happened, you're gonna have more participants, and it. I don't know if we would still be needed. It's a little hard because running Sam Show, it's kind of like a it. I'm torn all the time because I feel bad that Andy has to take the back seat. He doesn't get to compete, even though I tell him to. But he rather help with the tournament so people have a chance to play. Um, it's that's the same thing. I feel the same way I feel about like O2UM. Someone asked me if I wanted to run the tournament, and I'm just like, well, there's going to be a lot of content creators wanting to hop onto this, right? And there is a crowd that will support that. So I want to give Andy a chance to be a competitor because that's what he is. So initially,
For sure,
right?
yeah.
He kind of got dragged. To be honest, like to do all this TO stuff, he kind of got dragged along to do this with me. So I mean, I want to keep supporting Sam Show as much as I can. I don't know if Andy wants to do it as a content creator.
Shit, I want to run two. Like I want to run two games at the same time. Just it's in the same like network, SNK. So I felt like with SNK games, they don't get the same exposure as other fighting games. But I feel like if both games have good netcode and a consistent lobby and stuff, I feel like you could bring at least the SNK brand to the forefront of fighting games. They instead of being just like the one to follow these other companies, you can finally become a leader. You can finally push Code Mystics to the front and have them like set the bar for the rest of the industry and how to implement rollback, so that every game, right, whether it be like Capcom games or anime games, or we all benefit when we all have good netcode.
Yeah.
So there'd be more content creating because now you create a buzz. You need more stuff on YouTube, more tutorials for players that want to learn. Because right now there's no incentive for any of this. There's no incentive for us to run these two tournaments just because they're on different platforms now. One has a lobby, the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Like logistically, it's really hard. But let's say if we could run everything on a single PC, have it be on Steam, it makes things easier for us, and it helps out the company because now we're pushing their brand.
Right.
Everybody wins.
I think it's, I don't know. I going back to Sam's show, like I don't think people realize how committed and passionate the players are, right? And within Sam's show alone, there's at least, I would say, eight to nine Parsec hosts. That's a lot of love.
That shit grew from just us. It grew in a couple months to like almost 10 servers.
Yeah. And
so
it's great.
It literally, people could have just dropped the game, but people do love the game enough to actually like get it going. And so it's not just us. And we want to keep on nurturing this community because everyone, all the players and all the TOs and content creators are worth it in this community. And we want to bring light to that. KOF13, when I told Andy, like, hey, I want to do a KOF13 tournament, he's like, you are crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty bold.
Like he was just like, are you serious? Did you just tweet that? You can't undo that, right? He gave me this whole lecture. And I'm like, no, I really want to do this. And then he's like, so I put a poll up and he's like, dude, everyone's going to be all talk. No one's going to enter this tournament. Like our friends are probably going to flake out on you. I was like, but the polls are like show interest. And when we did it, we realized, gosh, like people really, really love this game.
People love 13. They love watching it a lot.
I didn't feel it. Like hearing about it is one thing, but feeling and witnessing it makes me really sad that like this game is just kind of became not obsolete, but the content just kind of stopped, right? And I hope that there is a place for KOF13 moving forward, or with at least rollback.
I hope my list that I got from 4chan ends up being true.
I mean, it's a logical the logical progression, you know, like if we're just trying to make sense of all it, like, yeah,
you know what? You can put your whole conspiracy hat on. Okay, so then now they have 2002 in the books. They go back to 98 because that's the last game they ported.
Yeah.
If they knock that out of the park, now they get another project. And based on how many people tweet out the games and how much buzz they get, the likelihood of 13 being the front runner becomes really high.
After 98 for sure.
Right?
What about 11 though?
That's the thing I was gonna bring up is like 11 should get the nod, but I don't think it is gonna get it before 13.
Because 11 traditionally doesn't play like a King of Fighters game, right?
I don't know if it's that or it's just like, all right, you gave us two of the classics, right? People, you know that this netcode works. Now let's give them a project that people are really gonna bite on. And at this point, which really makes things difficult is like, what's the timeline of KOF15 coming out? Because I would think that they definitely know this has been a heavily requested game to get this update. I don't think they want an overlap between this game and 15. You know, I mean, in the same way, I don't know if you remember, but KOF14 came out to a lot of negative criticism because of the appearance, and when you compared it to KOF13. So, it's just nobody or at least in my opinion, I don't think the company liked the comparison. Like, just let 14 live on, and same thing with the players. You know, we just don't want to divide them, I guess.
You could watch Marvel Infinite players bitch about Marvel 3 players shitting on them. Play a game with really terrible PlayStation 2 graphics. But
dog, I gotta say, I thought it was fucking hilarious how people shitted on 14 so hard for its graphics. And then the people that were hardcore lobbying for how great Infinite was, it was like, dog, you were the exact same person that was talking mad shit about 14, and your game looks just as busted now.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was like F Champ and stuff. Those shields.
Oh my god, bro.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Like, third, in my opinion, after 98, anything can go, and it's either between 11 and 13. And honestly, I don't know. I would hope it's 13.
It was up to you. Your dream timeline for the next, I want to say, the next 2 years of SNK games, having rollback. If you had to draw it out and it was going to happen based on what you drew out, what would it be?
I would say, and this would truly make me happy, 100%. I would say put lobbies in before you do anything with 13 in O2UM and 98UM FE. Because I feel like 98UM FE is like for sure going to happen. Like, there's no way around it. I would rather you put lobbies in 14 and Sam Show, because these are the games that are going to carry us into like the future. You know, the player base needs to grow. And I feel like 13 had a fair shake in the tournament scene. People played it. People got to experience it that way. And as much as I'm like, yeah, I want to play this game. I love all these games. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. 13 is my favorite. But best believe if you put lobbies in this shit, you're probably going to see me create all kinds of content for it. Like, hell yeah, dude. I could host a lobby for this shit. Like, are you fucking kidding me? If they make me wait 5 years to get a lobby and rollback for 13 and they put it in everything else, I'll fucking take it. You know, because I want to see you guys succeed. I want to see East Coast succeed, Marco with his stuff and all the other players from the other regions. And I want to be able to do my thing too. And like Rome and those guys, Desmond, all these people that have been creating content forever. I want to see everybody succeed. As much as I'm a hardcore 13 player, I just enjoy the series in general. I want to try playing Sam Show seriously again. I really love playing that game offline. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I could live with just having rollback in 13 because I know the players. Like, I could play them. It's a selfish thing for me. right? And I'm very selfish with 13 because I just want to get my games in and I don't care, you know. I'm just being honest with you guys. Like, I just want to play. 13 is the game where I just want to be a player. But kind of similar to what you were saying, Angela, about Andy is, and I feel like I can relate to him a lot, is though I want to just be a player and I want to push myself to like the highest capability that I can, as a community member, somebody that cares about their community, I feel like there is a role that only I could play, and I need to play my role in order for everybody to succeed. You know, I want you guys to be successful. I want us to be successful. I want to push the best of us forward. And that's why, like, for me, the stuff that you guys are doing, I've always been like, hey, man, if there's somebody better that can do this shit, that people appreciate their content and want to come and experience it, well, fuck it. Because I don't care about being that guy of like, no, I want the fucking attention. I'm a 13 guy. This is my shit. I could care fucking less. I just want to play. Like, you guys hold some dope shit, I'm there. I don't care.
Yeah, that's why we're happy that you entered the tournament. I think like I kept asking Andy, I'm like, like I feel bad. Like, should we give Abe more time on the mic? He's like, no, trust me, dude. Let him play.
he likes playing and he likes watching.
And
you don't have to give him something to do. He can just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, it's true, man. I mean, you guys know how many nights with almost no sleep I had going into work because I was like, I'm gonna play in this lobby, bro.
Yeah, because you always say like, yeah, guys, I can't play late. Okay, it's a weekday, and then like the next morning,
I stayed up late playing.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember one time my wife came down and she gave me the dirtiest look. She came down and I was like, I don't know if Andy was there, but I was definitely talking to Thomas about like KOF and how there's not a lot of content created for it to explain how to play KOF outside of obviously the Dandy J video, but there's a lot of very specific things that happen in KOF strategically that blah, blah, blah. I got into a conversation about the whole meta of the game, right? And I was just so into it. And I was like, just looking at the clock the entire time I'm talking, I'm like, 12:05, 12:06, 12:07. I'm like, oh my God, it's getting late. But this is too important. I got to tell this to Thomas. My wife comes down and she's like, you need to go to sleep. And I was like, oh shit.
Thomas, I heard her. Damn.
Yeah. And I was like, I will after I get this point across, because this is way too important. Who knows the next time I'm going to have somebody's attention on this type of stuff. Because that's how I feel about 13, man. It's like everything's, especially in fighting games, is so fleeting. Like you can have like a really big moment and then in your scene or whatever, and then it's gone in like a month or two. And then it's so hard to get back, you know? And so when I see people having some type of momentum, I want to try to help, if I can, push it in that direction, whether if it's me as a player or a commentator. You know, I have a wide array of skill sets that I can use. You know, if I can design something or whatever it is or share my experience, I do, especially with people that it's very rare to have people like you guys that are so inquisitive and curious as to how to improve a situation and, you know, looking beyond whatever it is that other people have done before. Because I love bouncing ideas off of you guys and seeing what you guys are going to say and how you guys tackle an obstacle, you know, like seeing how you guys handle the Parsec and the Cloud situation. And then like you guys kind of observing like how KOF players like me just ghetto rig everything. Where it's like, I mean, there's no pressure for me though. I'm
so much.
I'm not running a tournament, so it's okay. I could do some like bullshit, but yeah, you know, there's not a lot of times where things like this can come together, and when I see it, and something that I've never been afforded to is to be around people like you guys, right? Because it's like me, Gibby, and Chris, we do game good stuff, right? But we're all so busy separately. Our schedules are so like different. Gibby works a lot. Hellpox is always doing other stuff, and to organize things is extremely difficult. So when I see people like you guys doing what you're doing, And especially if it's 13, dude. Like, maybe I wasn't, like, super present in Sam Show, but as soon as you guys threw some 13 shit, bro, it was like the bat signal. I was like, oh, I'm fucking there, you know?
How did you even know that we were doing Parsec stuff? Were you talking to the UCI guys, or like, because out of nowhere, I was looking at the lobby. I'm like, oh, MetaAbe's here. he's been, and then I looked at it like 30 minutes. Like, oh, he's still there, like kicking everyone's ass.
I think Andy was talking to Gibby, and when Gibby was in chat, I believe, and Andy was talking to somebody else trying to find a player. I think Andy was trying to find players to play in the lobby, and then Gibby told me about it, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, the UCI guys, I was like, all those guys know I fucking play? I was like, let me in this shit. So I think I sent a message. Oh no, Andy actually sent me a message, I think, because Gibby told him to send me one.
Yeah, I was trying to get players to test it out. Yeah.
So you got to try the day one KOF tests.
Oh yeah, with all
that was day one.
We've improved the settings so much since then. I don't know if you noticed it, but like the inputs delays and everything have gotten slightly better over time. Like we figured out the resolution you have on the GPU and all this stuff.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you guys were testing something out, and then I had heard something about this before, about other community, and I believe it was Marvel that was doing stuff like this. I forget specifically who it was, but somebody was doing something with Parsec and Cloud or something like that. And I was like, oh, whatever. You know, it's just, I mean, I don't know shit. I don't play Marvel, so I was like, oh, interesting. Just a side note, right? And when you guys said that you guys were doing it and they needed somebody to test it out, and I was like, bruh, not that I play 13 religiously, but I was like, I'm probably one of the only people that keep up with playing this game, as far as I know, because I don't talk to the UCI guys all the time prior to this. You know, it's every, like, once in a blue moon, you know, I'll talk to Jason, who talks to a lot of them. And Jason doesn't tell me shit. It just goes to show you how great of a friend Jason is. Not even telling me about any of this stuff. Probably didn't want me to get in there, dude. I'm telling you.
Oh, man.
But yeah, he told me about it. I was like, what? Jason's in here too? I'm like, what kind of shit is this? I was like, I need to fucking play here. And I was just so excited, bro. I went like fucking 1,000 miles an hour. Cause I didn't know, like, I didn't know. I was like, I don't know what I can do. So I'm just going to go as hard as I can. Cause I've never played in this environment before, you know? And I was just like, fuck, dude, I can DP everything. I could fucking hit combos. And I was like, I can fucking run through all the, like, timing. There's actual timing in this. It's like, you know how, like, you play online and then when you play offline, it's like, let's just say in movement, right? Like, there's the spaces in between the spaces, you know? And online, that doesn't exist. Like, those spaces are gone. It's like very specific spacing to be in a match. And you can't do that online. But offline, you can find those sweet spots because, I don't know what it is. It's like you commit to a certain frame of movement. Let's just say you're like walking or you're running or whatever. Yeah, and when I realized you could do that shit, I was like, finally, I can do this and show people these theories I've had about this game, you know, and I could prove it to myself. So, dude, I dreamt about that session, dude. Like,
damn.
I kid you
not. It was deja vu when it happened. Then, like,
yeah,
heard of this.
I don't know, man. It's just it was a game changer, and that's what we've been experiencing these past like 2 months is like a series of game changers for us in the fighting game community. And if anything, to me, what got the ball rolling, I know it has like probably no influence over what the companies have done, but for me, what got the ball rolling for me as a player, because honestly, I wasn't playing fighting games that much at all, is when you guys started doing the lobbies, and then I started getting invested more into fighting games because, like, I didn't like online. I had like almost written off online completely. Like, that's it. I'm done. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna become the artist I always felt like I needed to become. And then you guys at 13, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna draw anymore. I'm good.
Yeah, you were becoming a productive person in society, and then we ruined
We
you.
turned you into a degenerate.
Well, I have always been a degenerate. It's just, you guys just brought it out in me again. So, yeah, man. I mean, I really do have high hopes for you guys. I feel definitely like kindred spirits in like how you guys approach stuff and your passion, and Andy, how you want to be a player and you're still here TOing shit, and it's not the ideal place you want to be, but you know, there is some joy out of being able to see other people enjoy stuff. And ultimately, I think we all share this, is that we really enjoy watching people play these games at a high level. I just marvel at what people can do at games like Sam Show and KOF, and when these people really bring this shit, it's super exciting. And ultimately, that's the reason why I still commentate, why I still play, and still watch your guys' streams and stuff like that. So I have very high hopes for you guys. And
really appreciate how supportive you guys been. Yeah, we're always taken aback about like all the support and encouragement you guys give us all the time, because it's not easy. Like
no.
there's been a lot of times where we're just like, yeah, should we pack it up?
Yeah, do they even know we exist?
Like,
Yeah.
you know, do people even know? Like, you know, and it's so hard because like we're not the only ones that's trying to make Sam Show work. Like the whole community is like dedicated to making it work, right? And we're just kind of waiting for like a miracle from Code Mystics.
Yeah, we're waiting for a bunch of suits to give us the green light to,
you know,
implement some things we need to be changed.
Yeah, and I guess like when that KOF tournament happened, it just gave us a little bit of hope. Not, you know, just as the scene altogether, because if people are talking about it and they're like, oh, okay, like we can enjoy the game, there's no point. Here's the thing with me is like, I get this argument a lot, like, hey, you know, if we just all quit the game, like, we all just stop playing the game, SNK is going to give us what we want. I'm like, that there's no sense in that. You know, if you're not going to play, you're not going to talk about it, then why would they, you know, spare a nickel to invest in this game for you?
Also, you already bought the game, so
yeah, they already won.
Like, you know, like
they won a long time ago.
It just makes no sense. Like, yeah, we're gonna boycott. You know, like, you know, people are like, yeah, we're gonna go boycott the next season. I'm just like, you know, you can go ahead and do that, but what about the people who want to still play?
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard. It's so just to get any support, it helps us know that we're doing something right, because for the longest time we weren't sure if we're, you know, what was the purpose of us doing all this stuff. Like, is there a light at the end of the tunnel, or are we gonna do Parsec forever?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So it's nice. It's nice to get feedback. That's the most important thing, to get feedback from the community and just take breaks when we need to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, this is your love for what you do shouldn't destroy you, you know. And I feel like some people will take it that far, you know, because they want it to work out so much. But it's like, you know, it takes such a big effort now, especially with the way that Parsec and Cloud works, and how much when you put yourself in that position of leadership and TOing, you feel so obligated to make all these people happy, or to like be a part of the community, or make sure you hold it down, or do whatever you have to do. But I mean, for me, as I got older and I experienced like, all right, man, I don't have a lot of time left to do things that I want to do. I'm getting older and I need to spend time with my wife. I need to spend time with my family, and I want to do things that I love doing. If I start to hate this shit, then it's like, that's a problem, you know? Like, if it starts to become such a burden that it messes with my health, my mental health, or I just become much more irritable person, like, I don't want to do stuff like that. So yeah, man, I mean, the community will understand. At the end of the day, even if the community doesn't, you know, your guys' health and happiness is always a priority. So yeah, guys, I mean, like I said, the future is bright. I feel our paths are gonna cross many times in the future, leading up to KOF XV and beyond. And I hope that we can keep this up and not get burnt out before 15 comes out, you know, because that happens too.
Shoot, we got O2 UM to last us for a while.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna be hitting you up for matches.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Don't pick Shingo, dude. I don't want to deal with that character. You know, get random overhead armor or whatever the fuck happened that one time. I'm like, what?
Wall bounce.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate you guys being on the podcast. This was fun. It went a lot longer than I thought it was gonna go. But that's a good thing.
Right? I don't want to go on a podcast and have like dead silence for a good minute and a half or something.
Nah.
At least we had something to talk about for a while. But yeah, I really appreciate you having us.
Yeah.
And appreciate all the passion you have for all these games.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's in me and I can't take it away. I'm gonna be a fighting game player for life, whether I like it or not. I don't know. I've accepted it.
Has your wife accepted it?
Oh, dude. I mean, part of the reason why she's my wife. She don't even know what the hell's going on, dude. But she's like really, really supportive. And I feel bad, dude. So I've taken her to Evo like twice, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, baby, you really don't have to go. You really don't have to go. I feel so bad for you because you're not into any of this stuff and whatever. And she's like, no, I'm fine. I'll sit there and I'll bring all my like tablets and my cell phone and watch stuff on it or whatever. And I'm like, no fucking sane person would ever do this. She's like, no way she's going to do this when I took her the first time. And I shit you not, she sat there the whole time. And I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, this is the one, dude. Like, I gotta treat her right. Cause it's like the support, the what's it called? The unconditional support that I get. Like sometimes when it's a friendship or whatever, you know, whatever relationships people have, people will support you, right? And it'll be like unconditional and you'll know it, right? Also, a lot of times people don't appreciate that or they don't reciprocate it in any type of way. They just take it for granted. And for me, having somebody like her be so supportive and want me to do the things that I love and it genuinely doesn't like upset her or anything and I don't need her to be into it. I mean, for me, that's a perfect marriage for what I need to do and what I'm trying to do. And luckily, it hasn't got me into any trouble other than a stern talking to about you need to go to sleep. and that's it, you know. But I'm pretty lucky to be doing in my situation and you know, I really appreciate my wife, and I think we have a really good relationship. So
I would love to meet her someday.
Yeah, I think it would be great. You guys would love my wife. She's I don't know anybody that dislikes her. I think she's a really cool chick. Really cool chick.
Yeah, one of these days when everything's back to normal, we could probably go get coffee or something.
Well, you know, my girl's been asking me forever to what is it called? Get some K barbecue. And I've only gone once with other people, but I'm like, I don't know anybody out here that like likes that shit. So I guess we're never gonna go. But if you guys are down for something like that, I'd be down.
Angela's an expert at Korean barbecue. So.
Awesome.
Dude, yeah.
It's a plan then. Post pandemic, let's do it. All right, folks. So I'll let you guys have the rest of the night. Again, I appreciate you guys for showing up, and we will do this again.
For sure.
Dude, sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, folks. You guys have a good night, and thank you guys for listening. And keep an eye out for more episodes. I have another episode that should be coming up real soon with Hell Pockets talking about PS5 stuff. He got one, and I didn't get one. So we're gonna be hearing a lot from that guy. But all right, folks, you gotta have a good night, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.